Redshift here, doing my part to shift perceptions out of the pink and into the red. The rich can gain friends and create connections by paying people more than the job is worth. If someone helps you out in a little way and you pay him back much more than his help was worth, you'll make friends, you'll make allies, etc. And if you do that with the same people or in the same circle to different people but who all know each other, the word will get around that you pay really well and that helping you out is definitely worth their time. So then people will probably even volunteer to help you out, or they'll hesitate far less to help you if you ask for their help, or they'll go out of their way to help you when they might not have otherwise, but they will because they know that you pay really well. Or whatever, because they know they'll be paid very well for the job, right? Much more than the job or the favor is worth. So you'll get a reputation as being someone who it's worth it to help, right? The people who've worked for you before will want to work for you again, and the people who haven't worked for you will want to work for you because they've heard that you pay really well, right? So you'll get a reputation as someone who it's worth it to help. So if you're super rich, it's totally worth it to be this way. And it gives you a huge advantage. If you're a billionaire, then it's easy to pay someone, $10,000 for a job that's only worth $3,000 or $4,000. What do you care if you overpay people, right? You can just sit on gold. You can put most of your money in gold, and you're literally making, millions of dollars a year. If you have like $1 billion in gold, then that means what? You're making like I think 25 million a year on average over the decades. Not every year, but you average out the years over the decades of holding it, and you'll have made about 25 million a year just by sitting on gold because it goes up more than inflation. So you're making money if you're a billionaire by doing nothing. So it's easy to pay someone, way more than the job is worth. Like what do you care if you overpay people? It's not going to make you any less rich, right? And it helps you, so it's not even a loss because then they're going to want to work for you again. If you pay people to do you favors, they'll want to do you favors again. If you have relationships like this with a lot of people, then if you ask one of those people to do you a favor to not work for someone else, because like you have a grudge against that someone and you want to keep them from being able to make progress, you just ask the people who they need for that job or whatever to, you ask those people, yeah, don't help him out. I'd take it as a personal favor, and then they'll be like, okay. So then, knowing they're going to stay in your good graces and it's going to pay off over the long term, they'll refuse to work for that other person. And then that'll massively harm that other person's business or whatever, or their life or whatever it is. You see? So this is definitely power, right? Like being able to block people like this, right? They're going to want to stay in your good graces, so they'll do that for you, right? They'll not help that other person in order to stay in your good graces so they can keep getting paid well to do jobs in the future for you. So rich people accrue a bunch of allies who are willing to do them favors. Regular people don't have these kinds of networks. Normal middle class, non-rich people don't have these kinds of networks unless the average person has a lot of charm or has a very good moral character and has charm as well. But typically your regular, boring, normal, average person doesn't have this kind of network and can't really develop such a network even if he wants to. So that's yet another huge advantage that rich people have over ordinary people. But rich people don't even need to have charisma or moral character. All they have to do is have money. And they can then use their money to develop such a network. And because like charisma can let you get away with a lot of stuff, but even charisma, if you have a bad moral character, people may very well choose to not help you even though you have charisma, if they know what you're really like. So even with charisma, you might have to have moral character to a degree. Although you can usually always find new people to help you if you have charisma, even though you may be constantly burning bridges with old people because you have no moral character, even though you have charisma. So, charisma, you somewhat have to have moral character. Moral character, to form networks through having a high moral character, you definitely have moral character for that, obviously, because it's all based on character. But with money, you don't have to have anything, just money, right? And it doesn't even matter that those aren't real friendships. It's just a strategic thing. It's allies, it's connections, it's favors, it's a form of power. It may not be emotionally real. They may like pretend like they're your friends and you pretend like you're their friend, but both of you know you're not really friends. It's just a business, a ally, favor, connection type of thing. That may not be as good as real loyalty, but it is really good. It's very useful in business and other ways, even though it's not as good as real loyalty. It doesn't have to be emotionally real to be very useful. Even the non-corrupt rich people have a huge advantage over normal people, not just corrupt rich people. Right? Like corrupt rich people can lie and do all kinds of scheming, evil things to have an advantage over normal people. But even non-corrupt rich people, virtuous rich people, have this advantage that I'm talking about here. You know, you don't even have to be evil or corrupt to make use of this principle of power. You know, just rich. So the money itself is an advantage. It's not just that rich people are typically ruthless and they have that advantage as well. Just the money itself is a massive advantage over regular people, right? And this makes it all the more unconscionable that the rich rig the game in their favor in various ways, such as by allowing government to use fiat currency and also by using lobbyists to write the laws and make sure the laws have loopholes for those corporations who hired those lobbyists who wrote the laws. You know, the rich already have the advantage of better looks, better IQs, better memory, more charisma, a ton of money, etc. But then on top of that, they also rig the game in their favor by allowing the government to use fiat currency and do other such things that harm the common people even more. If the top 10% of men got together, they could all pool their money and power and they could force the government to go back on sound money, back on a gold standard. They could absolutely do that. But they don't. And that proves that they're either idiots or they're scumbags, or both. The rich have less need for the game to be rigged in their favor than anyone else, and yet they still do it. Is that not proof of their low moral character? That they have literally little or no morals, right? If anything, we should rig the game in the favor of the middle class because they're at a natural disadvantage, right? Plus, this would not only even out income inequality and whatnot, but it would perhaps also make it so that there's less corruption at the top. But let's not even rig the playing field. But if we do, then let's rig it in the favor of the middle class. But then again, that's what welfare is. But it just means that the elites cheat through inflation and through other means, and then it's just a wash anyway. It means it takes away the advantage that welfare gives to the poor anyway. And the welfare only gives the poor an advantage. It doesn't really give the middle class an advantage, but yet the middle class are paying for it, right? So all welfare does is it helps the poor at the expense of the middle class. And so the rich have an advantage and the poor have an advantage, but not the middle class. The middle class is getting screwed. It's ridiculous. It's totally insane, you know? It just impoverishes the middle class. It doesn't even help anyone. Welfare. So not only is it, quote unquote, helping the poor, but it's not even really helping them because they're foolish, and so it just encourages them to do foolish things like have kids out of wedlock and ruin their lives. So welfare actually makes things worse, you know? And if we're going to rig the playing field to even things out, then we should do it based on a reputation network so that the people, not a government reputation network, but a decentralized, Bitcoin type of free reputation network. There should be several of those so that everybody has a choice of which one to use. And if you had a reputation network rigging the playing field, you could have it so that the people with the better score, because of having better morality and a better reputation, if those people with better morality and thus a better reputation have the money, you can make it so that the currency, like you could have the country run on like several cryptocurrencies, or even, this wouldn't happen because the government's corrupt, but even if it weren't, you could have one cryptocurrency, and everybody uses this one cryptocurrency. And if the government weren't corrupt, it can make the cryptocurrency fair and honest, like Bitcoin is supposed to be. I mean, you could debate whether Bitcoin's what it's supposed to be, but whatever, you know what I mean. Like a cryptocurrency, it's actually fair and uncorruptible and everything. You could do that, and then you could have it be so that there's this reputation network that's fair and not controlled by the government or whatever, or maybe many reputation networks, and they're all connected to one cryptocurrency or a bunch of cryptocurrencies that people use. And then so pretty much everybody's using a cryptocurrency that is tied to one reputation network or another. And then that means that like when you spend money, it depends like, what the money was converted into when it like came to you or whatever, when you're paid. Like when everybody gets paid in one way or another, it converts through the reputation network, and if you have a high reputation, then that like multiplies the amount of money that you're getting, right? And if you have a low reputation score, then when you get paid, it like lowers the amount of money that you're getting, right? You're getting paid less than you should be getting, right? Like your boss tries to pay you, $10,000, then if you have a low reputation network score, it might lower it down to 5,000. So all you actually get is 5,000, even though he paid out 10,000. And this would also, I don't know how it would incentivize work and stuff. I haven't really thought that through. I guess I don't have the time or the, speed of processing power to think it out right now on the fly. But, that would probably affect like how employers pay. Because, if you're not getting paid as much because of bad reputation, it's probably going to incentivize you to work harder. So I don't know. But my point is like it could pay out, and then the guy gets paid less, but if he has a low reputation score. But if he has a higher reputation note, if he has a high score, then he gets paid the same amount, but it goes up. He's getting 20,000 or whatever, even though the boss is only paying out 10,000. You see, maybe that would even incentivize the employers to hire virtuous people, because while they would be incentivized to work less hard, they'd have a lot of extra money that would be coming out of nowhere, and then they could use that extra money to, invest in things that the company is doing. And they could get points from the company, a share of the company's stock in exchange for investing in the company and the projects that he's working on or whatever. And so that could make it so that the company has more money to invest. And that would also incentivize the less virtuous people. This is the main point. You want to incentivize less virtuous people to be more virtuous. And you also want to make it so that the people at the top, the richest people, by having a lower moral character, this would make it so that their money translates into less money, when they get paid and stuff. I guess it wouldn't change what they already have, but it would make it harder to climb to the top if you're a bad person. And the new money that you're making as a rich person, just by like sitting on gold or investing in stocks or whatever, that new money that they're making is less than what it should be because of their low moral character. So then this makes it it's not going to completely even out like communism. We're all equal, but it would even it out more. It would make it more even, and it would incentivize virtue as well. And so this is really important, right? It could be a really good thing having a cryptocurrency tied to a reputation network, so that people who are more virtuous get paid more. Automatically, the money converts into more money when they get paid, and vice versa. People who have lower moral character or lower reputation network score get paid less money. Their money when they're paid converts into less money. So yeah, it's like. That's how we should do it. If we're going to do it, we should do it with a reputation network, so that the people with better morality of the money that they earn, the money they earn convert into more money, and the people of worse moral character of the money that they earn convert into less money. So the rich, by being evil, will make it so that their money has less purchasing power or whatever, and the middle class and the poor, if they're virtuous, will have more money or more purchasing power per unit of currency that they earn. This could all be done digitally or in a decentralized way through a special cryptocurrency that works this way and works in conjunction with the reputation network, like I said, that's also free and decentralized. And so we could actually somewhat even out the earning power and base it on morality, and do so without the intervention of government. This could all be done under anarcho-capitalism. And it would not require one system. There could be many reputation networks and cryptocurrencies tied together. Or tied to, like many reputation networks tied to many cryptocurrencies. Maybe there'd be several cryptocurrencies all tied to one reputation network. Maybe some reputation networks would be tied to only one cryptocurrency. Maybe one big cryptocurrency would be tied to several reputation networks, etc. Like, all that would be needed would be for most people in society to be using one or another of these reputation networks and cryptocurrencies, and it would force the rich to use such a system too. Because no one would take their money if they weren't hooked to a reputation network of some kind. And then that would force the rich to be moral or pay the financial price for not being moral. And it would make for less wealth inequality without having to steal from the rich to give to the poor. Everyone earns their money by working and earns the purchasing power of that money by being virtuous, so that their money buys a lot instead of only buying a little like the money of unvirtuous people. It's utterly unconscionable that fiat currency even exists, because it's not like it hurts the rich. They have a ton of money in gold. They know the value of it. They know the value of gold, but obviously they're not using their political influence to get the government to go back on sound money. It's ridiculous. What do they think they're doing, undermining a country like this? Well, we know they want a one-world government. Maybe not all of them, but most of them, it seems. But I don't know. It also seems like they're trying to destroy the country, maybe to get that one-world government, but at the same time, they're in league with the government, and they're the ones who largely control it. So it's like, what the hell are they even doing? It doesn't even seem to make sense. It seems like they're both trying to, destroy the government, but at the same time, they're in league with the government, and the government doesn't want to destroy itself. It's trying to make itself more powerful. It makes no sense, right? It's very weird. But then again, these people are immoral, deluded, hedonistic, short-sighted, egotistical, selfish idiots, so I guess it kind of does make sense that what they're doing makes no sense. Kind of like how much of what government does makes no sense. But, maybe it's a case of the elites are trying to get their one-world government, and maybe some of the people in government are tied to the Illuminati, or Illuminati members are trying to get the same thing, whereas a lot of other government people are either real believers in the government and are trying to make it strong, or they're, just working for the government and doing what the government wants, and whether their boss is Illuminati or the other guy, or the other guy's trying to make the government strong. They're just trying to do what their boss tells them to do, whether, undermine the government or not, or make it stronger. So it's like, maybe there's not necessarily tied to Republicans or Democrats, but maybe there's two camps. Those who really believe in the government are trying to make it strong, probably more lower level government employees, like lower level FBI, lower level cops, etc. But other people are, trying to undermine the government to get one world government. So maybe they're kind of, doing both, or maybe they're doing both things at the same time. The same people are. Maybe they're trying to, undermine the country to enslave it, but and make the government strong enough to continue doing that, and the government strong enough to continue colluding with the corporations to make the corporations and their control of the people stronger. But at the same time, they're undermining the government long term so that they can eventually, not just collapse the U.S. government, but collapse all the governments of the world, or tie all the governments of the world together, like the EU, and then collapse those systems, and then merge many EU type of, joint things, like, unite the whole of North and South America together, unite all of Europe together, unite all of Asia together, get those three things, and then get those three things all collapsed, and then merge them all into one new thing. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. I don't know. It's very weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But like I said, these people are selfish, hedonistic idiots who are short-sighted also. So, who the hell knows what they're thinking? But the Illuminati is real. I mean, their symbolism is all the fuck over the place. I mean, I saw yet again another couple of examples of the circle with the vertical line through it. One of them is a necklace with a big, gold, circle pendant type of thing on her chest, and then there's these hanging threads, a bunch of gold threads hanging down through the middle of it. And then there's another person who had an earring that was a circle with a line through part of it. I think it was the top of it, like the one symbol I mentioned before that didn't go all the way through it, but went through just the top part of it, almost like a shortened upside down feminist symbol. So there's symbolisms all over the place, so we know it's real, the Illuminati. What else is there to say other than that? I think that's all I had to say in this video. This has been Redshift. Hopefully somebody liked this video. Hit the thumbs up if you liked it. Hit the thumbs down if you didn't. I wish there was a neutral button, by the way. YouTube should have a neutral button, because if no one hits a thumbs up or down button, what am I supposed to think? There's a lot of people that like the video, but they just don't bother or ever remember to hit the thumbs up button? Or am I supposed to assume that, they want a neutral button, a thumbs to the side button, so that they would hit that because they neither liked it nor disliked it? If there's not an up-down or an upvote or a downvote, what am I supposed to think? Did they forget to hit either button, or did they just neither like it nor dislike it? This is why you have to have a neutral button. You see? So a thumbs to the side button. So you can tell the difference between the people who are just forgetting to hit any button and the people who thought it was neither a great nor a bad video. You know what I'm saying? So I wish YouTube had a, thumbs to the side button. But anyway, it's been Redshift. Peace.